Hey man, I haven't talked to you in a while. Where you been, dog?
I took
I've been feeling lonely.
Yeah, man. I went out and got some West Coast love.
Nice. Oh, you're over on the left coast.
Yeah, man. I made a little trip to Arizona. When saw that big gash in the ground they call the Grand Canyon. Got a taste of some dry heat, which was lovely. No humidity. Yeah, man. Took off. Went out west to Arizona for a few days and saw my parents for my mom's 60th birthday. So yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, doing some family things and yeah, man, just disconnected actually, man. Like I didn't take my laptop with me.
Wow.
I took my iPad
for the plane ride either?
No, I took my iPad with me, but I never cracked it out. I ended up reading a book on my phone through my Kindle app. Man, I logged out of Facebook. Man, like I disconnected. It was kind of wonderful. I'm not even gonna lie. Like just being away from work and being away from everything, it was kind of beautiful. And then like you go out to the Grand Canyon. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but it's intense, dude. You see pictures of it, but you go out there and it's gigantic. Like just the pure scope of it, man. You stand on one side, and it's like 6 miles or something to the other side.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah. So like you really have no idea until you actually go out there and see it in real life in person. I
feel like the Grand Canyon's one of those things like that as you get older, you appreciate more.
Yeah,
because
sure.
You know, like that's one of those. That's like a National Lampoon fucking vacation movie destination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to go to the Grand Canyon when they're in their teens or even older. Like in their early 20s, you're trying to go and get fucked up. But definitely, I think you can appreciate it once you're starting to settle down and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
it's interesting.
You definitely appreciate stuff like that more, and it definitely is. I think you're right. It's an older thing, yeah. Like because when you're a kid, if your mom and dad tell you you're going to the Grand Canyon, you're like, oh God, here we go again.
It's like the classic one too. It's like, oh, we're going, or Yosemite. Yeah. We're going to the Grand Canyon or Yosemite National Park, and it's like, fuck this. But that's tight though. I haven't been to any of the national parks. I've never been to a national park.
You never even been to Yosemite? You live in California, man. That's only like a couple hour drive right there. Yosemite is cool. Yosemite like is better if you're into hiking and stuff because there's a lot more hiking trails. Like the Yosemite Valley, you just kind of drive in there and like you can go in a circle. You can walk around and check out a couple of waterfalls. The Grand Canyon has like a bunch of different trails that you can hike and stuff like that. So I definitely rank the Grand Canyon a little bit over Yosemite, but Yosemite's cool. Especially if you're in Northern California, that's a close shot for you.
Yeah, I know. I've never been like a wildlife guy. I think I've been camping like once, so it's like it's not like I'm super in tune with nature or anything like that.
Right.
But as I get older, I definitely do appreciate more of like Earth's natural beauty and all that stuff. Like especially as I'm exposed to it more with how connected everything is. Like It's kind of hard not to come across friends that hike. Or hunt or whatever the fuck they do.
Yep, exactly.
You can get a good feel for it. But
yeah, it was crazy. Like just to go off on a total like hippie tangent. We were driving back. It was nighttime because like we went out there. It's like a 3-hour drive from Phoenix, so you drive out up north Arizona, and then you're driving out like north of Flagstaff, and we got out there at like 3 p.m. Spent probably like 3 or 4 hours out there kind of walking around and stuff. It was dark by the time we were coming back. And when you're coming back, it's like a 50-mile ride from Interstate 40 out to the Grand Canyon. And we noticed that there was no moon in the sky. So we stopped and pulled over to the side of the road and like looked up. And man, you could see the Milky Way. You could see every damn star that was in the sky that night. And like that was amazing. Like that little moment.
A privilege.
Yeah, man. Like it really does kind of make you feel small at that moment right there. You're like, damn, I am a little speck in this giant universe. So that's my hippie tangent. That's it for that.
No. Little known fact about me is that I'm like a avid stargazer. I have a pretty nice telescope, and
nice.
Like that's something that I'm really into. getting that experience though, really, it changed my whole perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah,
because it was so jarring to know that was up there this whole time and I didn't even know.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like one person in all of that.
Yeah.
So who the fuck, like, who cares about, you know, what anybody would ever think or whatever say about you? Exactly. Like how, you know, I almost felt dumb. Like, why would I ever worry about anything? You know, like all that's up there.
Yep.
Like, Jesus, my problems, no matter how big they may be to me, doesn't matter at all.
Nope,
you know?
It doesn't even matter. Yeah, man, it's crazy. A guy on the flight back to Atlanta was telling me that something cool about Flagstaff in that northern Arizona area is it's kind of an extremely low light pollution area. So, like, I guess there's observatories out there as well. And it's actually a really great place to go stargazing just because of the excessively low light pollution. I guess like the city of Flagstaff they don't do fluorescent lighting on a lot of their signs and stuff. It's all, I want to say incandescent lighting. I may be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they don't do like fluorescent lighting. So like when you're out there and there was absolutely no moon, it was a completely dark moon that night.
It was a new moon.
Yeah. So it was completely dark and you're probably 60, 70 miles from anywhere, you know, as far as like a major city, you know, there's a little city out there that's like the gateway to the Grand Canyon. And, but I mean, it's not enough, you know, you drive 20, 30 minutes from it, you would never even know it's there. So yeah, it's crazy dark. And like just that moment of standing out there and just looking up and seeing every star that the sky had to offer that night was phenomenal.
That's amazing. Yeah. Super jealous, man. That's tight. But yeah, also, you said you watched the UFC, right?
Yeah, I tune in. I don't watch a lot of the pay-per-views, man, because that's $60 a pop. Yeah. On, you know, I haven't found a dope spot around here to go watch it, but I definitely still pay attention. I catch it on Fox Sports when they have the prelims on. Yeah, or when they just do like their fight nights and stuff too on there, which I haven't seen. Are they still doing those on Fox? The fight
hell
nights?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They just had.
Yeah,
I think they just had a big one. I can't remember who fought, but it was supposed to be a big one.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the last podcast, episode 6?
No, I haven't checked that one out yet. No.
We talked about the 205 card before. Like they had a few fights, but it was kind of like up in the air who was fighting, and we kind of shit on it. So. I'd like to go ahead and take that back.
Yeah, it looks like
they fixed the card.
Yeah, it looks like an all right card right now.
Yeah, we kind of took a big fat shit on the 205 card. We were like, what are they doing? We don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's why we don't work for the UFC.
Yeah.
And we're not in the fight game. This might be the best card of all time. It looks crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in every single way, you know, there's at least 4 fights that could be main events on their own.
Yeah.
You know, this is, if you're going to buy a pay-per-view, I'd have to say you probably should buy this one.
Yeah.
This one looks like it's going to be good.
I was glad to see Conor McGregor fighting back down at 155 instead of 170 because, man, the 2 fights that he fought at 170, he looked a little sluggish. That looked, you know, some guys are just not meant to carry around that extra weight and fight at that weight. So, yeah, I'm glad to see him dropping back down a weight class because I think it just makes him more exciting.
Yeah, he's definitely like a bigger dude, and he, you know, it's tough to watch cats cut weight like that. You know, I mean, like I've never really had to cut weight. You know, like I never wrestled or anything like that, but a lot of my friends did.
Right.
And it takes so much from you. Like I almost like to see him better at 170 just because he looked a little bit healthier. But right. I mean, you obviously lose the size advantage when you go up that high of weight class, you know.
Well, and I think on the flip side too is when guys go up from something bigger than maybe their frame can handle, you know, they get a little sluggish. Then they get fatigued a little bit easier. So they're used to punching, or you know, they're used to expending energy a certain way. And when they get up there, you know, you put on 15, 20 pounds, you might feel a little sluggish. You know, you may not be able to throw, you know, 60 or 70% of the punches that you could have, and before you start getting tired. And that's what I kind of felt like happened. I felt like Conor always kind of had that knockout power. Like he was always able to, in the 155, he could put people out. And it felt like when he got up to 170, especially against Diaz, he wasn't throwing punches to knock people out. It looked like, especially after the first couple of rounds, those hands got a little heavy on him, I think.
For sure. He hit him with some shit though.
Oh,
he definitely touched it.
Diaz can take a punch. That's
definitely. Yeah, he hit him with a couple lefts that I thought were like, I was like, oh shit, that's game over, night. I thought it was over. Yeah. But Diaz is a tough ass dude, man.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed to see Rashad Evans on the prelim card, because as much as I like Rashad Evans, I'm like, dude, what are you still doing fighting?
Man, he's been fighting forever, right?
Forever.
He's been fighting for a long time.
Yeah, I feel like I've been watching that dude since, realistically, like UFC 1, it seems like.
I was a freshman in college the first time I saw that dude.
Yeah.
And that I've been out of college for God knows how long now. Man, how long have I been out of college? Like almost six years.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm sure he was fighting before then. You know,
he's been around a long time, because he was one of the first coaches on the Ultimate Fighter. So, yeah,
right, him and Rampage.
Yep,
that's season 4.
Rampage tearing the door. That's still a classic moment.
It sure is. Yeah, definitely. That's pretty good. Anyway, you already know. I'm not even gonna say it. Yes, I am. We're live. We're live. The audio files in your ear, all 5 of you that listen, I appreciate your attention. That's and right. I promise you it's going to pay off here very soon.
Yeah.
But this is episode number 7 for real this time. Yes. Not like episode 5. This is the legit episode 7. And my name is Rashid Peters, my co-host.
This is Dustin Brookshire.
Threw it to you. Definitely, you caught it. I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, with the audio's dropping out a little bit. We're in this
bitch. You can find us. We may have lost us, and that's all right. You can find us on Facebook at the Audio Files. Facebook, the Audio Files Podcast. Sorry, and you can find us on Instagram at the Audio Podcast. And I don't know what happened to Dustin.
I'm still here.
The Skype call's still going. There you go.
It's chopping something terrible right now.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
You got me?
Yep, I got you.
I can hear you.
Okay. That was terrible. We chopped something fucking horrible right there.
Oh man, come on, internet! Don't do this to us right now. It's all right though, because I think we're still okay. They can listen to this. This is some real shit. This is what actually happens when you try to do a podcast over Skype.
Yep, that's it. Sometimes you get a little jumpy.
Yeah, it's no big deal. You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, for sure. All right, so there are some things that have been happening in the audio world, like a lot. There's a lot of shit that's been going on actually. Yeah. It is like the peak of convention center or season. Man, I'm peak. Speaking of peaking, I'm peaking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the height of it. A3C, AES, Knobcon, all of those have been going on within the past month and a half. So that I definitely want to talk about some of the announcements that's come out of that. Yeah. And just about the convention scene itself, like it's really taken off. I don't know if you've looked at the AES website, but looking from last year to this year, and Knobcon as well. Knobcon was like a really small sort of thing, and it's still pretty small, but it really got a lot more coverage this year.
Yeah, it's definitely picked up. AES is, that it's been big and picking up. coming back from vacation, I unfortunately missed out on all the A3C events because that was going on last week, and I saw some pictures of it from a friend who was out at it. But yeah, I didn't make it out to any of those events, which stinks. But it is what it is.
Yeah, you got some life experience out of it. That's sometimes more valuable than going out and trying to network, quote unquote.
Yeah, I saw something today that was somebody posted like A3C is over, what now? And it's like follow up.
Yeah,
that was like the word of the day, follow up. These people that you meet out at these conventions, it's not just enough to go out and talk to people at the conventions and get their email or their Twitter handle or whatever, and then just kind of sit on it. Like it's like a job interview. You gotta follow up with these people. If there's somebody you legitimately want to work with, or it's an opportunity for you, it is like a job opportunity. You gotta go after it.
Definitely. It definitely is, because, you never know who you're talking to at these conventions, and I mean, I haven't even really been to an official convention like that, but I've been to a lot of panels and a lot of networking events, and, you'll be amazed at who you might run into. So, it's definitely something that, I'm looking to get more into. So, with that being said, I did want to talk about some of the announcements that were made at some of these, or at both of those conventions, Knobcon and the AES convention. Yep. First, I guess I'll start with the Slate Digital. Of course, come on, we love Slate Digital here. Yeah, they're still killing the game.
Man,
I mean, like this is a pretty huge announcement, just because they actually got the official stamp of approval from to make the distressor plugin.
Yep.
The famous distressor plugin, that the big white knob compressor that you see in a lot of bigger studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the actual stamp from them to make that, and they put it in their everything bundle.
Yep.
Which is, I mean, come on,
man. And they dropped the damn price on the everything bundle.
Man,
which, you have to sign up for a year now, but you still get it at $14.99 per month, with a year commitment. You don't have to pay the year up front, but you get it for $15 a month now versus $25 before on a month to month. So yeah, when I saw that today, I did a little jump for joy. 'Cause I've been paying, I was on the lower plan, the mix and master plan, which was $19.99 a month, but still saving that even $5 a month, and getting everything that they offer, totally. I mean, it's even more worth it now than it was before.
Yeah. I mean, they've damn near swayed me. I'm almost about to buy it right now as we're doing this podcast. Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, because some of the plugins in there are worth $14.99 a month by themselves, I feel, and you get so much out of it. And I saw that they're doing a new reverb. They had the LX 480 before, which was like a lexicon emulation. And from what I read now, they're doing a new reverb that actually emulates 7 different vintage reverbs. So you kind of get more bang for your buck there.
That's the Verb Suite Classics.
Yeah.
Reverb. Yeah. Distressors are they're made famous for drum processing. That I know people use them in their chain differently. You can obviously use it however you want. It's just a compressor. Yeah. But I guess what makes it special is that you can hit it really hard, and the compression that takes place is very transparent, but it's transparent. It gives you headroom, but it's still, it gives it a little bit of character, which I feel like the best sort of plugins, whether they're hardware or software, they do that for your sound. I don't like really transparent plugins that, you have to really tweak a lot to get a certain sort of characteristic. There are some plugins that I would rather just have in the background of whatever processing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
like to where like you don't notice it when it's on, but if you bypass it, you can tell that's something that there's something different. That's kind of how I judge the how much character a plugin will give me.
Yeah.
If it's very prevalent, then
I definitely like really dry EQs for like that first EQ where I'm doing a lot of my cutting to kind of carve out my shape. But there's definitely, adding another EQ on top of that after you've kind of cleaned up whatever your source is. You want it to have something. You want to know that it's there. That if you bypass it, not only are you hearing a difference from what you've maybe added or subtracted with that EQ, but also kind of has some character to it. I think that was the great part about all the hardware. And man, Slate Digital is nailing it with the software right now.
Killing shit. Yep. There's a reason why we like them. I mean, like, it's really the best deal right now in the plugin game. Yeah. I feel like they kind of have figured out this is how you do it. You have to they're not giving it away, but like, I mean, $15 a month, like what we're talking about, 1,500, what that's like said math, 1,700, 1,700?
No, 170.
No? 170? Sorry. Yeah. Too many zeros.
Yeah. Actually, I think it comes out to 180 if for the whole year. If you sign
for
up
the whole year.
Yeah, if you do, or you can buy it for 179 for the whole year. I didn't get the math on that one, but whatever. That's not up. I mean, if you sign up and do $15 a month for a year, it comes out to like 180.
180. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, man. I mean, come on, dude. $200 for...
And they just keep adding stuff to the bundle. I mean, they're doing the D16 delay now, too.
Right.
Yeah, they got the distressors, the Verb Suite Classic in there. And, like, they just added a bunch of...
all the rest.
Yeah, they had just added a bunch of, like, mic pre-emulation that was not part of, like, the microphone, their virtual microphone system that they had. Yeah, I mean,
how does that work? Have you used that?
I have. It's basically like a preamp. So, a lot of times what I'll do is when I'm mixing vocals down, I'll run the vocals, especially because some of the vocals that I had gotten recently were just kind of dry, just done through like a real basic Tascam interface. So I wanted to give them a little something more, so I ran them through there just to give them, because they're real simple preamp emulations. It's just like drive and input, so you can basically just kind of push it and get a little bit more drive out of it and get a little bit more chunk to the sound.
I see. Okay, so it's not something that you run in real time, like while you're tracking.
You can, I believe you can run it in real time because the latency on those plugins is pretty low, anyways. Like, I mean, I've run the virtual mix suite, which is like their housing unit for all their plugins. I've run it across probably 10, 15 channels at once and never had never had a problem with it like chunking the system. So they're pretty efficient and pretty low latency. So I imagine if you had just like a standard mic, whatever, a typical condenser mic, and didn't have an actual legit pre, I imagine you could run it through that real time and get it sounding like you wanted it to.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing that I feel like is next, as far as like, companies offering DSP cards, sort of like the UAD vein, so that you can run stuff real time and it not like completely freak out your computer. Yeah. And, like being able to manipulate the plugins in real time and kind of getting that kind of feel, or that feel in the recording without having to, going after the fact and do the tweaking. I feel like it would help workflow, and it's something that I've been waiting for someone else to get into. Like, I feel like, why does UAD have that market so cornered? I mean, it could be from like copyrights and patents.
And they got the lock on as far as all the the emulations that they do, as far as the Neves and the SSLs.
Very sure.
And everything like that. Like, I'm sure they have some kind of deal with the manufacturers that they're the only ones who can do it. So like, what's the point of emulating something else if you can't exactly emulate that? But I don't know, with the Slate Digital stuff, they're emulating those, but they're just not calling it by the name. So yeah, I don't know. Like I definitely would like to see more of that where it's real time.
Which is what Waves did as well. I didn't mean to cut you off there. Waves did that as well, with all their like CLA plugins, and they emulated like the LA2As and all those sorts of compressors. But I mean, I think the thing that both of those are missing is like a dedicated DSP, like hardware.
Agreed.
Like why? That's the part that I'm most like. I wonder why no one else does it. Maybe. I haven't really researched it. It's just an off the cuff thought that I'm having, but like maybe it's because of a patent that, it won't allow it to work any other way unless you have, consent from UAD or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I think eventually our computers are going to be so powerful, especially when they're talking about quantum processors and like all this sorts of, stuff that we probably don't even know about yet.
No,
I'm sure.
Latency is kind of a thing of the past. The days of firing up Pro Tools and throwing a plugin on there and it crashing because of like system overload because of like two virtual instruments. Seem kind of far off from where we are now.
Yeah, and I mean, like you're getting more and more RAM capabilities. Like to have a 32 gigabyte machine at this point isn't even like uncommon. Our solid state drives either,
Yeah.
Like those are two pretty common things to have now. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, man. Because I was looking at that, the Scarlet Red preamp that you had also mentioned to us. And, like I was thinking, like it's a $3,500 price point on it. But
the new one.
Yeah, the new one. But what you can do with it, I mean, it has huge like expansion capability, because it has now, I guess, Ethernet, which is replacing optical. I haven't really looked into that too much because I know my Focusrite Sapphire still has an optical on it, so that I could bring in an optical preamp or another optical interface to kind of add more
expand.
Yeah, but this one was talking about Ethernet, and it was talking about expanding to like 64 channels in and 64 channels out, and I'm just like, holy cow!
Damn.
Yeah, like,
damn.
You're talking about like that's big studio type solutions. For most of us, that's just not even. It's not even really an option. Like who needs that in a bedroom studio?
It would be sick to have. I'm not gonna lie, just to be like, if you want to bring in your orchestra into my room. We can record that shit like no problem. Don't even worry about it. I like the dual Thunderbolt, as well on that. I didn't like Thunderbolt at first. I still really don't, to be honest with you, just because I like the functionality. I just don't like how stingy they are with the ports. If you're gonna make that like your proprietary port, like treat it like a USB.
Right.
Like give me a lot of them. Like don't fucking be stingy with the Thunderbolt ports to make me buy all sorts of shit.
I need just more than one on my machine.
Right. Exactly. Is basically what I'm getting at. But I do like that aspect. And what's this DigiLink about? I didn't really look too much into that. But it looks like it's pretty much optimized for Pro Tools HD,
right?
Which speaks again to the Ethernet connectivity, how it's kind of made for bigger studios. Pro Tools still kind of rules that realm,
without a doubt. Yeah, the DigiLink is. I think they do some DSP processing machines. Like I honestly, ever since I've gotten Logic, like I've just stopped paying attention to Avid.
For sure.
Because I like Pro Tools still. I like what Pro Tools does for mixing, but yeah, definitely as far as writing music, and I definitely took the time to actually learn Logic. I wasn't like trying to bounce back and forth a whole bunch. But yeah, like having these interfaces now that are optimized to work with Pro Tools, I remember coming from the MBox days and the 002 days where it was like, you got to go out and buy this Avid hardware so that you can use Pro Tools.
Yeah.
So it's definitely nice now to get any interface and you can get into Pro Tools, even if it is still kind of expensive if you don't buy their subscription service.
Yeah, those are the dark days. Having to have an inbox to run Pro Tools was just like, what the fuck? Like, I have to buy this piece of hardware that most of it was like 002s, like if it was going to be a decent, piece of hardware. Yeah. And when I say 002s, like the rack mounted one.
Yep.
Or the actual controller. They had a controller version too.
Yeah, but, I had one of the rack mounted ones for a while, and it was just like every Pro Tools setup I had. It was kind of sketchy at times.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. When my homie Esteban on the podcast last week, from Creatures Like Us, he said that Pro Tools is very sterile. I was like, yeah, that's a good way to put it. It is. It's sterile. It's like we both learned on Pro Tools, so it's like it's kind of like home for me. Like I don't think I'll ever forget how to use Pro Tools.
Right.
But it's not as fluid as Logic is. Like it's a little kind of stilted to get around. Like you have to know the hotkeys in order to be like super quick, and it doesn't look as nice. It's just very like professional. Like that is, you're doing some fucking work if you're in Pro Tools.
Yeah, you better wash your hands and get your doctor mask on because you're about to go to work with Pro Tools.
Basically. Yeah, that's basically it, man. Yeah, there's just been so much news, dude. Like even more on the software side, SoundToys released a free plugin, a free EQ. That's God bless
SoundToys, man. They
I love SoundToys.
At least like once or twice a year they put out something that's free, and it's sometimes it's like a light version or like a kind of a limited version, but it's still dope and it's still SoundToys.
Yeah, and if you have never played with a SoundToys any plugin, definitely just go ahead and get your hands on this one, or you buy any of their their effects plugins are great.
Yeah.
I feel like I loved SoundToys' delays. SoundToys'. I love their delays.
Is that like Reasons?
That's like Reasons. It is Reasons. What do you mean? It's not Reasons? Okay. No.
Multiple. I was running multiple instances of it.
Yeah, I had 2 or 3 Reasons going at the same time. Yeah, but it's an EQ that looks like it's more of like something that would go in your master chain if you're going to do that. They're saying it's modeled after the Simon's W295B. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of that EQ before.
Me either.
But yeah, but it's supposedly some classic EQ that broadcasters use. So this seems like one of those plugins that's going to add color to your sound.
Yeah.
So, like that, like I said, those are the type of plugins that I like, and I think that I haven't downloaded this yet. You actually have it from today, the day we're recording this, till the 13th. So that's like 3 days. Yeah. So I'm going to do that after we get done here. But,
yep.
So that, it's definitely something that you should check out.
I think you're right too, as far as it being like a master chain plugin, or if you're doing like some type of voiceover type situation, putting it on vocals would probably, if it's a broadcasting, because I've never heard of the Simon's W295B ever, so yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's free, so go download it.
Yeah. Yeah, the price point is super good on this one. You really have nothing to lose except some hard drive space, maybe. Yep. And your email. They might send you some emails.
Yeah, they might send you some junk emails, but promotions are always good.
Yeah, and that's SciQ with a S, so it's SIE-Q, SciQ. Just put that into Google and it should pop right up. But on the hardware side, there's one more announcement that I saw at Knobcon. This is actually like one of the reason why this announcement caught my eyes, because I've been getting more and more into like modular and more. I've been trying to figure out more of how to like, what's the best way to get in, into modular synthesis. Sorry. And this little instrument by Artisan Electronic instruments, it looks promising.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that it's right now for a modular EQ, the price point's it's pretty reasonable. You know, I think they're planning to release that $799, and they're planning to expand on it too. So right now it's a monophonic synthesizer, you know, along the lines of any of your Moogs or, you know, whatnot. But they plan on actually making it into a polyphonic, I think they said like 5 oscillator, 5 voice,
Wow.
like, you know, modular synthesizer. So, you know, that's the thing about modular synthesis that gets me, you know, excited, is that I don't have to have 10 keyboards. I can just have one big ass modular wall with one keyboard and have, you know, 20 different synthesizers, or, you know, 20 different styles of synthesis that I could play with, you know.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, because I mean, you know, having, you know, trying to cram 13 keyboards into, you know, your little project studio is just not, it's not realistic. But I mean, you know, you can rack up, you know, a couple different modular items and be good to go. And yeah, I mean, at a $700 price point where, you know, some of the keyboards and stuff, as far as synthesizers go, you know, stretch sometimes into that $2,000, $3,000 range. You know,
one.
Yeah, for one, you know, I mean, I think this is definitely a good look for somebody who's looking to get into modular and also just looking to learn synthesis as well, because it's always good to learn on hardware.
Yeah, I guess that's something that kind of turns people off about it too. Like, everybody wants the presets.
Yeah,
you know, like the preset market is alive and well. People are buying sound packs, me included. Like, it's not that I don't like to design sounds, but if you just want to get going, like, having a good set of presets can really take you a long way, you know. Especially just as a jumping off point. You know, you could tweak them to your desire.
Yeah.
But
and it's also, you can use it as a learning tool to help you understand how to get the sounds that you want. Because I mean, obviously, a lot of the preset packs are going to already have sounds that you want. You know, especially if you're listening to demos or whatever they put together of them. And that way, you go in and learn and go, oh, okay, this is how they did this. And it's not always just as easy as, oh, I'm going to go in and learn this today. Like, it's, you know, sound design is definitely a very in-depth thing, and it's definitely something you have to devote time to and learn. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes doing sound design, because I have anyways.
Yeah, I've blown up so many patches, dog.
Oh, like, for sure.
It's just like, it's almost expected at this point. Like, I'm gonna, you know, turn a knob the wrong way and not be able to figure out how to get that characteristic of the whatever sound I'm trying to make back. And well, looks like we're starting over. So
go ahead and initialize preset.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that initialize, man. Yeah, but this thing by Artisan Electronics, it's called the Ottava, I believe that's how they said it. It's the Ottava desktop analog performance synthesizer. It's available now, so you could buy it right now. And it is modular, so you will have to buy a case for it. You'll also have to install it. So I guess that's another kind of thing about modular. Like, you have to be real hands-on with it. You have to, you know, install it in the case, figure out what case you want, what kind of power supply you're going to use to power this thing. You know, there's a bunch of different parts into creating a modular synthesizer. But I think at the end of the day, like, the rewarding factor, or the, you know, feeling like you actually built this thing, and the process of building it, I think kind of it's attractive to me, and it's attractive to a lot of like hip hop heads now. There's like a whole Facebook group that I'm a part of called ModBap. Corey Banks from B-Boy Tech Report is the moderator. And he's like, his modular rig is crazy. He has a whole bunch of shit that I couldn't even begin to tell you about, but he breaks it all down on the page. And, you know, like, I'm really thinking that might be the next wave, just based on how prevalent EDM is in every part of music now that you hear on the radio.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't even say the next wave, because it's been here, but it seems like people are getting more interested in sound design the longer that EDM stays hot, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because you definitely hear it in a lot of modern hip hop now. Like it's there's a lot more patches that are EDM influenced and a lot more sound design. Like it's not enough almost to just use presets. I mean, you can still make hot tracks with presets, and I'm not saying don't use presets because I'm definitely not one of those people. I've always been about presets and using stock sounds as a jump off point, or even as like the basis of the track. But yeah, there's definitely something to be said for sound design and putting your stamp on the track by something you created, and it's so much more satisfying when you finish a track up that you've done some sound design and actually put in some work in creating a sound and giving that track an identity from that.
Yeah, definitely. Just to kind of put a bow on the Octava, it as it stands right now, the $700, what you'll get for the $700 version of this synthesizer is a 2 oscillator monophonic synthesizer. You'll get a 4-pole. It's all analog too, which is nice. 4-pole analog, low pass filter, 4 LFOs, and patch storage. So like it comes with, it looks like a little LED display to kind of let you know what's going on on the insides of with your patch or whatever, and it allows you to save it. So I'm really honestly thinking about maybe buying this in the near future, just to see. And if I do, I'll definitely give a review. Like whatever I decide to do as far as my modular journey goes, I'll definitely give a review of the gear. So, look out for that. Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. It looks like it looks like a dope piece of hardware.
It does. Definitely. It does. And I just like turning knobs and like plugging shit in. Oh, yeah. Like, I think we talked about that. Like just having that itch to want to plug shit in.
Man, anything that gets my hand off of a mouse and a keyboard, I'm good with.
Definitely. Yeah. That's definitely something that I feel like is a little underrated too. I feel like people have like MIDI controllers and don't really use them.
Yeah.
Like how you probably should be using them. Me included, for a long time, I was not like even trying to map any of my controller parts to any part of the software. I was just like, if it doesn't come like that, probably not going to do it, bro. But
yeah, MIDI is kind of was kind of a big mystery for a long time for me. I was like, what the hell am I doing here? And then when it started going over USB, like it got a little bit easier, but like still understanding the MIDI and how to send channels out and stuff like that. Definitely there's some importance to that. And it is, I mean, I think we've touched on it before, just it being that hands-on experience with a piece of gear where you're not on a mouse and a keyboard. It's a different experience. I think it's a different mental experience, and it's a beneficial thing. I enjoy turning knobs much more than I enjoy clicking mouses and staring at the screen.
100%. Yeah.
To see what I'm doing. Turning a knob and hearing results from what you're doing is definitely satisfying.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that. And at the end of the day too, like you'll definitely find your own workflow, like as everybody does. Whether you borrow from a couple YouTube videos or however you decide to work, it'll be the right way to work for you, which is kind of what I'm finding out. Like I'm not stressing as much. I think when we first started this podcast, we talked about workflow and about like kind of how hard it is to find. But I think if you just do whatever it is that you do every day, you'll just get faster doing it that way. And it's that's pretty much what I found these past couple weeks or however long, month, whatever. Like, I just gotta actually sit down and do this shit.
Yeah, I saw something today. It was like, it was a picture of Bruce Lee, and it had like a flow chart on it, and it was like, are you perfect at your craft? Yes. Like, keep practicing more. No, like, you need to practice. Like, all these things, like, have you practiced today? And if it was like, yes, I practiced, it was like, good, go to sleep. And then the next step was like, wake up and practice again. Like, there's not enough time in the day to honestly practice your craft. If it's something you're passionate about, you definitely got to put in the work to understand it and be good at it.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true, man. And another thing about the about modular synthesis and just about using actual physical controls, automation is so much easier. It's so much easier when you do it like through a physical thing.
Yep.
I mean, you can click it in. There is something to be said about that. You can be much more precise. It can be easy doing it that way, but I think I feel like if you use the knobs, you kind of get closer to what you hear in your head rather than it being super perfect,
right?
And it not really feeling like what you wanted.
Those perfect imperfections from doing it. Like, yeah, I agree. Because you can sit there and click it in all day and like it'll be precise, and you can kind of sometimes even just get carried away by doing it that way, and you end up clicking it in and trying to make it absolutely perfect, whereas you can just turn some knobs and you'll get
super
that
quick.
You'll get that vibe of more realistically of what you're trying to do, I think.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like creating custom sounds like kind of brings me to another thing that I've been thinking about, just like as my journey goes on in music, is creating a fan base.
Yep.
I think a lot of times, especially in today's music scene and the hip hop scene, you hear about how it's oversaturated. There's people like giving away beat. We've touched on it.
Yep.
People are giving away music and all that stuff. And I think what the underlying thing is in all of that talk is people can't build a fan base the way that they feel like they should be able to.
Right.
Because there's so many people vying for the same attention. And the more research that I do about like trying to build a fan base and actually get a following, the more I'm seeing that it's not necessarily like it's not magic, which I never really thought it was, but I thought that there was like the normal person couldn't do it. Like that's what it always felt like. You had to have some inside track. But it's definitely not that way. It's definitely more of a science and a process of experimenting than it is anything else. And that's where success lies, is what I'm reading into, like getting the attention.
Yeah, it's definitely like I touched on earlier. It's about follow up too. Kind of having a way to connect with your fans and making sure that you stay connected with your fans. It's not just enough to be like, here's a free download. Like nothing should be free. In return for that free download, you should definitely be looking for a way to stay connected with that listener, whether it's getting an email and then following up and sending them email updates on you, not spamming them obviously, but sending realistic email updates, or getting a subscribe out of it on YouTube, getting a follow on Twitter, if that's what you need. But like and consistency and follow through and being able to not only say, okay, well, here's this free download, if you'll give me a follow on Twitter, or if you'll subscribe to my YouTube page, or if you'll sign up for my email subscription. But it's also being able to consistently provide new content for them, whether it's a video blog for what you're working on, letting them kind of see into your writing process or whatever, or just constant new music. Like you can't drop one song and then not do anything for 2 months. People are going to just become not interested because there's 100 billion other things out there as far as sources of entertainment flying at them on a daily basis. I'm exaggerating, but that's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah.
Is like you just constantly have, sources of entertainment thrown at you. And, if there's somebody who I subscribe to on YouTube and I'm like, oh, that was a dope video, and I watch it, but they don't drop anything for another 2-3 months, I'm like, I forget about them. I forget about them probably within a few days. But if they're dropping material once a week, you don't get a chance to forget about them. And that's what you have to do. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a song a week. Like I said, put a video blog together, let people into your process as far as artistically, and, kind of let them see you as the person creating this art, I think is a big thing. People want to be able to associate and link with you.
Yeah, consistency is a huge part of building a fan base. Definitely being consistent on not just the content that you deliver that they expect from you, but the content that you say you're going to deliver as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you set some sort of date or goal, or you know, if you make some sort of promise to your consumers, it's really important that you follow through on it. You know, and that definitely speaks to just the planning aspect too. You know, that's something that my eyes really got open to watching what's his name? But Booty Vogt. He runs Heroic. They're who's their big guy? San Holo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
San Holo. Yeah. He was like their big artist, and he does a lot of YouTube. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you haven't heard the San Holo track Raw, go.
Man, he's a beast.
Yeah, that song is nasty. The guitars and shit, and that's anyways. Total tangent, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, no, San Holo, he's legit as fuck. I a definite good follow on SoundCloud, but he basically goes into Booty does about basically their release schedule for all of his singles, right. And he kind of outlines it in a YouTube video, was it a YouTube video? It was maybe a video that I got through an email that I signed up for through him. Yeah. But did you sign up for that as well?
No, I haven't. I haven't signed up for that one yet.
Okay.
I'm signed up for so much email stuff. Like I I'm like I got to go through and unsubscribe to some of this stuff. But yeah,
right.
That seems to, you know, the email stuff is really kind of a clutch situation right now, because, you know, I think a lot of people are getting kind of tired of Facebook and getting kind of tired of Twitter. Like, it's almost becoming more of an indirect route to your fans. Like, it's good to put content up on those sites, but if you can get somebody's email and be right in their email box, I think that's a much more efficient way to stay in touch with your fans versus Facebook or Twitter.
Oh yeah, it's been harped on forever. Yeah. You know, people have been talking about email marketing for days and days and days. And it's, you know, like I said, I'm still pretty new to all this. So, you know, I definitely don't have like a degree in marketing or public relations or anything like that. So like all of this is still pretty new to me, but, I've always, you know, been kind of interested in, like, you have to be, you know, if you're going to try and make any sort of money online, you have to know a little bit about marketing. Yeah. But now more so, you know, really getting into like how to actually plan a release for an EP, or like what's the best way to build hype around, you know, yourself or an artist. Mm-hmm. Like, those are things that I really didn't have great insight to. And maybe I had some like preconceived notions about some of the methods that people use in order to, you know, get more reach online, like, you know, paying for promotion, like, for whatever reason, like for a long time, I had this idea in my head, and I know a lot of my friends do or did as well, that paying for promotion is somehow like dirty, and like you should do it, and, you know, like it's kind of looked down upon, but it's something you have to do.
Yeah.
You know, you definitely have to have campaigns on social media. You definitely have to pay for PR, as far as like radio plays and blog, you know, reviews and all that stuff. Like, you have to pay for it, unless you're some sort of like prodigy. Like, you know, if everybody's just like going crazy over your stuff and you can build that organically, right, you know, God bless you. But if you're just like some guy trying to come up that sounds a lot like everybody else, you know, you're going to have to pay. That's just the reality of the situation.
Good record companies back in the day used to do a lot of promoting. I remember that, you know, they would pay street teams and stuff like that to go out and put posters up and, you know, put flyers out at all of like the record shops back in the day. So like, it's really no different, you know, because if you were on a record label, you know, 10, 15 years ago, part of what your contract was and part of the money that was made off of record sales was put in place to pay, for those people to do the promoting and for the record company to do the promoting. So if you kind of think of it in that matter, it's really not any different than that. Sometimes you got to pay to play, and sometimes you got to pay to get that reach. In one way or another, it's either going to be you're gonna pay in time by putting out just a ridiculous amount of content until somebody catches it and they're like, oh, let me share this with so and so and so and so. But sometimes if you're not putting out content every single day, if you can only do it once a week,
lottery.
Yeah, you're kind of hoping that your number comes up, and putting that money into getting more numbers in the pool, it can definitely be beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that I never really felt bad about it. I've ran promotions before, or campaigns before on Facebook. Wow, the plosives in this episode. We might call this episode fucking lucky number plosive. Yeah. Jesus, I got to get a pop filter. I never got one because I hardly ever use this mic. But anyway, having campaigns and building a campaign, an ad campaign for, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, name the social network. Yep. It's way harder than I ever thought it would be. It's way harder. I was like, oh, okay. So you actually have to make this sound like an ad that people want to click on,
right?
When, there's 1,000 other ads from way bigger companies. And it's like you start to kind of look at your Facebook feed or however you're doing it a little bit differently.
Oh yeah.
How are you going to stand out,
Yeah, you definitely have to be, it's got to have some sparkle and some shine to it to get yourself to float to the top, especially in the way that, Facebook works as far as, pages and stuff like that. You don't always float to the top of the timeline. So,
oh no. Yeah.
That was honestly one of the most frustrating things about Facebook is just my timeline not being in chronological order. When they changed that, I was like, I can't do this. I don't know if it was a mental thing or what, but I think it was done when there started to become more pages that people were liking versus, being friends with. When they started liking those pages, I think it's kind of their way to make sure that they get their money out of it. But I mean, it's advertising. You're either going to have to pay for a TV commercial, a billboard, something in a magazine, something in a newspaper. I mean, throughout, the standing of time, that's pretty much how it's been. If you want to promote something, you have to pay for it in some form or fashion. So I really don't see it as anything different. And really it's beneficial. The numbers are kind of there. You pay for a Facebook ad, you're going to get more views on your Facebook ad for paying for it. So it is that beneficial thing. Okay, here's my magazine ad, here's my TV commercial, without actually having to do a TV commercial. Make a nice Facebook post, pay your money and get your stuff to float up so that it gets more reach and more people see it.
And it's nice because you don't have to you don't have to guess. And the way it's set up is your budget can be $5. It could be $2 if you want it to be, and it'll tell you exactly how many clicks and likes that you're expected to get, and it'll stop at a certain, once it reaches that threshold. So it's definitely different than back before pre-internet, when you had to actually get out on the street and do real legwork to get your record heard. But there's even something to be said about that too.
Yeah, without a doubt. But I mean, it is kind of nice to kind of know, if this is the money I put into it, this is the kind of reach that I'm going to get versus, if you were to put together a TV commercial or a newspaper ad, how many people are going to pick up, there's no guarantee on how many people are going to pick up that magazine or that newspaper on that day that your ad runs, or be watching television, at the exact time when your ad runs. You can't just go to people and be like, hey, they told me my ad's going to run between 12 and 12:30. Will you guys please make sure you tune into channel 3 or whatever?
People used to do that though.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
It's true.
Yeah, they hey, my ad's running, between this time. Check it out.
Go tell their friends and everything with their public access looking ads. The ones that if they were airing towards a big event, they definitely looked like the local ad on the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's nice because you know, like the ads are geared towards people who are interested too. Like, you know, you might reach like 1,200 people with a commercial, and like maybe two of them are interested.
Right.
But you know, the people that you're reaching through social media are being targeted because they've either searched that keyword, or you know,
Or
they've
they
shown
like a
interest.
page. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like it's much more tailored towards people who are interested in what you're selling or what you're trying to promote. So, you know, at the end of the day, like I feel like a lot of the frustration that a lot of producers have right now is really based upon the fact that they don't have, I won't say they don't have the money, because some of them do have the money,
Right.
but they don't have the actual knowledge of how to make an effective ad campaign, and where their audience will be most, where their time will be most well spent, like trying to advertise to their audience. And it can come off as being bitter, but I think it's more of just really not a full adoption yet. Like people haven't really fully embraced the idea that they have to treat this as less than a hobby. Like let go of the romantic idea that someone's going to find you through Twitter,
Right.
and or you're going to send a beat to Meek Mill through Twitter or Drake or whoever the fuck, and you know they're going to be like, oh, this shit's hot, and like sign you.
Yeah.
Like reality is you're probably going to have to like find fans that
You're going to have to do a little bit more legwork than that.
yeah, exactly. You're going to have to find your own fans. Like
Yep.
you're not going to get to piggyback off of someone else's name, or you know, you're going to have to make a name for yourself, and it's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Yeah,
you
you have to be really good at being your own, you know, your own hype machine. Really talking yourself up. And for someone, that's one thing I've always kind of struggled with is in my professional career, and then also, you know, my professional career as far as what I've been doing for the last 15 years for a steady paycheck, and then also in my music too, is like, hey, I'm excited about this. You should be excited about this, and I don't always do a good job. So like, that's the thing that, you know, you really have to push is if you're doing something you're excited about and you have a product that you want people to hear, be excited about it when you talk to people. Don't just be like, oh yeah, you know, I made this beat today. It was hot. It was banging. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And fuck other people's opinion too. Honestly,
Yeah.
if they're not
real.
buying your shit, honestly, like that's how and like, you know, shout out to Epic the Don. Like I don't know if you watch his YouTube, but that's another good YouTube follow. Epic the Don, Epic Music. He's been killing it in the online beat game forever, since like SoundClick was hot. So
Yeah.
you know, he's someone that I trust. But he says fuck their opinion if they're not buying beats. Like, why do you care about
What's
like
it matter?
what? Yeah, why do you care about what the next producer has to say about your shit if they're not even your target market? Like they're not someone.
Home Depot doesn't give a fuck about people not buying lumber, so like, I definitely get that point. Like, I mean,
You know?
if they're not buying beats, or they're not listening to music, going, damn, this is, or if they're listening to beats and, you know, it's not the music they listen to, and you know, they're like, oh, this shit's whack, whatever, you know, like, fuck it, what does it matter? Like, if it's not
for you,
yeah, if it's not your market, then it doesn't matter, because everybody has a market. You know, everybody's music has some kind of market. Well, I won't say everybody, but you know, for the most part, people they have a market that they're trying to get to. You know, if you make a certain type of beats, especially if you're emulating maybe what you hear on the radio or wherever you hear it, you know, there's probably eventually there's a market for that. So yeah,
definitely, man. Yeah, it's a forever, you know, or a never ending journey trying to figure out this social marketing. But the more that I research, the more I see. It's not as complicated as you might think it is.
No, man. Yeah, it's definitely just about reach and getting people to hear about it. And there's more ways to do it now than ever before.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, like this whole audio files thing has been a real, you know, like our reach definitely at this point, like this episode 7. It's not big at all. Nope. I think we have maybe like 30 something Instagram followers, 27 likes on Facebook. Like we are not even close. There's hardly anybody that knows about us.
Nope.
But Yeah, which is another reason why I've been researching it so much. But it's it was refreshing to know that it's not just because we might be like a boring podcast.
Yeah,
or
no.
you know, like it's just something that everyone kind of has to put the time in.
Yeah, it's the struggle, man, and it's that thing, you know, that if you're passionate about something, you got to devote time to it, and part of the time that you got to devote is not just practicing, but also learning how to perfect it. You know, and part of, you know, if you're putting a show out like the audio files, part of it's going to be marketing.
Yeah,
you got to run commercials for your show so that you get people hyped, man. You know, we'll have to put out a season if we run a season 2, we'll put out a season 2 trailer. You know, now with special guests.
Right.
So
yeah,
marketing is such a thing, you know, now, and it hasn't. The base of it hasn't changed, but it has changed with all the sources that people get information from now. And you really have to just be tapped into that and really know how to work those angles and how to get your product in the hands of the people that want to see it.
Nice. Yeah, I think we beat that topic to death.
Yes.
I think they get it.
They got it.
They got it.
If you got marketing tips, hit us up with some marketing tips. Let us know what you're doing. Let us know what has worked for you in your marketing. You know, if you got 500 likes on Facebook, man, hit us up and let us know what's good so that we can get 500 likes, and maybe we'll double your likes up to 1,000 or something. You know, that's how it works sometimes.
I can't. Can you just tell me how to get my friends to like it? My friends don't even like it.
You know, yeah.
Some of my friends can some of you guys like this?
Yeah,
so I feel better about myself a little bit.
What kind of friends are you people?
Like Jesus, I'm gonna unfriend all you fuckers. No, I'm just joking. I would never do that. I could care less if you like this.
Yeah. We like it. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy talking shop. Hopefully people enjoy listening to shop. All 6 of you that listen on a regular basis.
Yeah, we may have gotten a new listener.
Yeah. Hopefully this one promoted enough.
Yeah, man. But in order to do that, you're going to have to like our Facebook page so that you can be a part of the conversation. I'm tired of just seeing all of my posts all over our Facebook page. I feel like I'm spamming.
Yeah.
But that's not the only way to interact. You can interact with us on Instagram too, at theaudiophilespodcast.com. I'm always trying to post funny memes. And
there's some comedy on there. There's some comedy on the Instagram. Go hit the Instagram page, man.
Please. I make a lot of those like from scratch. So it's not like just Google shit.
Blood, sweat, and tears going into those memes, man.
All 5 seconds that it took me to think it now.
Funny.
It takes way, dude. It's hard to make memes, man. I didn't know how hard it was.
Oh, but they're funny. They're funny. You're doing a good job at it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
the art of making memes is. I salute to all you motherfuckers out there making dope memes. I had no idea. I was like, oh, the words get smaller. Oh fuck, I didn't think about. It's like a real like wordsmithy sort of. It's fun though. I'm glad people like them. So I'll keep doing it.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so Instagram at the Audiophiles Podcast, Facebook the Audiophiles Podcast. You can find Dustin on Instagram at what is it?
It's Dustin _B_916. I need to change that name up, but if you want to go hit the page for a follow, go ahead and hit it up. For sure. Yes. Those damn underscores, man.
But yeah, you don't realize how annoying they are until you gotta tell somebody your Instagram handle. You're like, what? Like, why do I have so many underscores?
Why did I do this to myself?
Underscore is like 3 syllables. It's way too many syllables. They need to just change the name of underscore. That would solve everything.
Just the bottom slash.
Yeah, bottom slash. That's even too much. Anyway. Yeah, you can find him at Dustin _B_916. You can find the Audiophiles on Twitter as well. Follow us on Twitter. I'm always posting stuff there as well. At TAF TAF Pod PODD. And you know what? If you're not following the Audiophiles on Facebook right now, you're really fucking up, because we're going to the Production Music Conference 2016 in Santa Monica. We'll be there day 2, covering all of the panels. There's going to be so much info. There's going to be interviews. There's going to be video. There's going to be the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for some like really dope exclusive information about music licensing and production music in general, you'd want to tell your friends and tune in, because it's all free. It's a free podcast. It's a free page to follow. It's free to hit the like button. Do that shit.
It's a free country. Do it.
For now, at least.
until November, potentially.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Anyway, that is the end of our podcast. We's out.
Peace.
Yo. This is definitely not the end of the podcast. It's definitely not. We got a song submission this week. How dare I forget that? It's our very first one. It was submitted on Twitter by IBQueese, at IBQueese on Twitter. You can follow their label, 3300ENT, on Twitter, at 3300ENT, and SoundCloud, 33-30ENT, off of Malik Chasms and Queese's 2016 EP, Ascente. This is Black in America. Check out the producer too, Mr. Mammoth, MrMammoth.com. That boy's nice.
Yeah, we just fly, yeah, we just over your head. Black boys and bees and powers, sloppy work for the feds. Like a black person resume, I'ma rip you to shreds. You ain't credible unless you legible, and these days they want you dead. Dilute your brand, dilute your fam, dilute that mindset that made you ever dream of breathing the same air as them. Fuck it, I could be the president and still they look at me like, nigga, you's a nigga. Why the fuck you think you had a chance to be in the picture? Stay in that box, these 4 corners. Yeah, that's your fixture. I'ma come alive in the light, I'ma die in the light. All we do is fantasize, all we do is galvanize. We don't ever monetize, we don't ever get the prize. This is our world, and these fools better recognize.
Why the fuck you gotta focus on the melanin? The serendipity ain't fluke, yes, happen. My opportunities are few, so I'm taking them. And y'all niggas real soft like some cartilage. Already in shackles, just came out the womb. Judging the book by its cover so soon. When I die, please bury me in my tomb, cause we all kings, so you better make room. Stereotypical, ain't it? Oh, he a black boy who rap in his basement, praying to Jesus, hoping that he makes it. He only know nonsense, he can't speak on real. Say fuck you, your wealth and your gentrification. You never knew struggle, money you were raised with. Currency so far, I know that shit tainted, but y'all cover up like a blanket. Always on the lookout, cause they know I'm the man, but they never gon' catch me. Captain Hook, Peter Pan, already locked in the sights before the fat lady sings. Yeah, I'm a crook in their eyes, they probably just seeing things, yeah.
I'ma come alive in the light, I'ma die in the light. All we do is fantasize, all we do is galvanize. We don't ever monetize, we don't ever get the prize. This is our world, and these fools better recognize. I fall on the mic like Mike, I sing on the mic like Mike, I jab on the mic like Mike. Yeah, I'm hella tight, like room on a slave ship, I'm hella tight. Like room for improvement, I'm hella tight. Like room for more prisons and grave sites. I'm hella tight, yeah, hella tight.
I said I'm hella tight, like a size 0 pants, hella tight, like when she let me in, yeah. Hella tight, like the space for me when I'm all up in my coffin, yeah. Probably die before I'm 30, wonder which way my soul gon' go. I don't even know, really didn't occur to me. All this and that, I be buried and just live my life for the hell of it. Hope I don't go straight to hell for it, probably just go straight to jail for it. Call that monopoly, life is a game, you my property. I'ma just pass go, 200 clams on the low. Y'all even get that joke? Anyway, can't keep my mind straight. They say I'm in good hands like Allstate, but really my people are narrow. And cops shoot them up like some heroin. They still get caught, good Samaritans, but they barbarians, man, yeah. To them we surrogates, man, yeah. So replaceable. I ain't asking for sincerity, man. I'm just wishing for some clarity, man. Wonder why these people fearing me, man. Wonder why these people fearing me, man. Cause I ain't nothing to be scared of, no. I ain't nothing to be. I ain't nothing to be scared of. I ain't nothing.